He had no size, no buzz, no fire. Aaron Donald was the furthest thing from an exciting NFL prospect. As a kid, he was undersized, overlooked, and by his own admission, lazy. There was no hype, no 5-star labels. Just a kid content to stay average until his father dragged him into the gym and changed his life. What followed wasn't just a rise, it was a transformation. From unwilling and unknown to unstoppable. Aaron Donald redefined what dominance looks like in the NFL trenches. This is the story of how an undersized defender proved everyone wrong. Life wasn't always easy for the Donald family. When a young Aaron Donald was welcomed into the world in May 1991, they lived in a working class neighborhood with both parents working multiple jobs to help ends meet. Aaron's father, Archie Sr., was a workout junkie and a former high school athlete. His determination and hard work had persisted all throughout his life. And when he saw his son turning into what he said was a chubby and lazy little kid, he wasn't going to let it slide. It was time to inspire a change in attitude. And the best way to do that was in the family gym in the basement. At 12 years old, Aaron was introduced to the sport of weightlifting. Then 2 years later, he was a fully established workout partner for his dad, grinding out gym sessions for 2 hours every morning before school. The change in attitude was dramatic. Archie Sr. had achieved his goal of instilling structure and purpose into his son's life. What he didn't realize was that in the confines of that modest basement gym, he wasn't just building a work ethic, he was forging a monster. A newly energized and stacked version of Aaron Donald suddenly took an interest into what life on the football field might look like, where he could use his new mass to impose his will. He was put to work on both the defensive and offensive lines at high school, being recognized as a first-team All-State player. However, no amount of gym work could ever make you taller, which meant it was just a 3-star rating for Donald and a measly 4 scholarship offers, leading him to stay home and commit to Pittsburgh for his college career. While Pittsburgh were happy to have him, it's not like they were completely sold on his physical profile either. Pitt assistant Greg Gatsua summed it up by saying, "It's hard to go in and sell to your head coach. I got a 6-foot defensive lineman that I love. He just didn't fit the physical dimensions that everybody has when they're recruiting." Nevertheless, Donald got to work at Pitt, having to wait until his sophomore season to earn a starting job. Thankfully, he proved to be worth the wait, earning a spot on the second-team All-Big East roster for his 47 tackles, 16 tackles for loss, 11 sacks, and 1 forced fumble. This was upgraded to a first-team All-Big East selection in 2012, before topping out as a unanimous All-American in 2013 for a stunning season in which Donald picked up 59 tackles, 28.5 tackles for loss, 11 sacks, and 4 forced fumbles. This stellar effort also saw him pick up the ACC Defensive Player of the Year award, alongside a long list of other prestigious accolades. It was truly a special effort, and one that certainly put Donald on the radar of NFL scouts. However, this success was coming against college players, in the ACC no less, not exactly known for being the pinnacle of college production. Would he be able to have similar success against far better athletes and talent in the NFL? There were certainly people who had their doubt, and the lingering issue of Donald's size was a big reason why. Measuring in roughly 3 inches under the average size of an NFL defensive tackle put him in just the 9th percentile for height, and his weight was only good enough to stick him in the 7th percentile. To put it simply, there weren't many good defensive tackles in the NFL that looked like Aaron Donald, let alone superstars. His NFL.com scouting grade was a 5.9, which equates to an average backup or special teamer in the 4th or 5th round. NFL analysts at the time, Nolan Narowski, pegging him as a rotational 3 technique. In fairness to Nolan, Aaron Donald never did contribute much as a special teamer. Similarly, in Mel Kiper's mock draft 2.0 in 2014, he couldn't find a spot for Aaron Donald in the 1st round, instead stating that he was a good bet for a round 1 selection, but he couldn't find any space for him. Much to the embarrassment of Kipper and very much to the embarrassment of Nolan Narowski, Donald did go in the 1st round, being selected 13th overall by the St. Louis Rams. As we know, this turned out to be a hell of a bargain. Yes, he was undersized and would have to defy the odds, but this was an unanimous All-American with freakish production. Oh, and he broke the record for the fastest 40-yard dash by a defensive tackle with 4.68 seconds. That's freaky indeed. It took just 1 season for Aaron Donald to make the 12 teams that overlooked him in the draft look silly. His 7th percentile weight and 9th percentile height proved no issue at all, as he regularly powered through and skipped past far bigger and older offensive linemen. 9 sacks earned him the Defensive Rookie of the Year award and his first Pro Bowl selection. Then, 1 year later, 11 sacks and 22 tackles for loss gave him his first team All-Pro selection, kickstarting a run of 7 straight. After just 3 years, it was clear that Aaron Donald was one of the most consistent and high-quality players in the NFL. As it turns out, it doesn't matter if you are a size anomaly. If you make up for it with a lethal first step and punishing strength, the 6-foot defensive tackle could bull rush anyone in one-on-one situations, whilst also having the elusiveness to get skinny and slide through gaps when they materialized. The best version of this was put on display in 2017, having held out the entire preseason in hopes of earning a new deal. A ticked-off Aaron Donald let rip, tallying 11 sacks, 15 tackles for loss, and a whopping 5 forced fumbles, making him an easy pick for the prestigious Defensive Player of the Year award. In doing so, Donald helped the Rams achieve their first winning record and playoff berth in 13 seasons. While it ended in a disappointing wildcard round exit, Donald did now get the contract he deserved, inking a massive 6-year, $135 million extension that made him the highest paid defensive player in history at that time. He celebrated this showing of faith from the front office by treating them to a turbocharged 2018 season, in which he was named Defensive Player of the Year for the 2nd year running. This time, he logged a stunning 20.5 sacks, 25 tackles for loss, 4 forced fumbles, and 2 fumble recoveries. Donald's defensive efforts once again earned the Rams the NFC West title, but this time he also managed to propel his guys all the way to the Super Bowl. Unfortunately, an incredibly well prepared Patriots team were waiting for them, suffocating the offense and taking Donald out of the game on defense, leading to the disappointing 13-3 result to New England. Wow, the Super Bowl hangover may have hit the Rams, leading them to land 3rd in the division in the 2019 season. Donald stayed red hot. He put the team on his back and delivered his 5th straight All-Pro season with another 12.5 sacks, before finding more improvement again in 2020 to win his 3rd Defensive Player of the Year award with 13.5 sacks. By now, Donald was on track for being the greatest defensive player in NFL history. He had 3 Defensive Player of the Year awards and would almost certainly break the defensive tackle sack record by the end of his career. All he needed was a ring. Which brings us to the 2021 season, Donald's 8th in the NFL. With the Rams having brought in Matthew Stafford, To help tip the offense over the edge, Aaron Donald continued doing what he does best as the defensive leader. His 5th consecutive season with double-digit sacks and multiple forced fumbles gave him his 6th first-team All-Pro nod. But with Stafford upgrading the offense, things were different this time around. A 12-5 record gave the Rams their first division title since 2018. Once again, capitalizing on the opportunity to book their ticket to the Super Bowl. This time, it was the Cincinnati Bengals waiting for them in Super Bowl 56, led by Joe Burrow and a ferocious offense. Thankfully, the LA Rams had the perfect weapon to counteract that threat. Aaron Donald was a menace on the biggest stage of them all, logging 2 sacks, including one to ice the game, as the Rams enjoyed a narrow 23-20 victory. The undersized defensive tackle had finally ticked off the one achievement that was missing from his sensational career. He had won a Lombardi trophy, and he had absolutely played his part in making it happen. After that crowning moment, Donald played 2 more seasons in the NFL. An injury limited him to just 11 games in 2022, but a return to health saw him pick up 8 sacks and an 8th first-team All-Pro nod in 2023. It was at this point that Donald did something that very few NFL players get to do. He went out on top, on his own terms. 10 years, 3 Defensive Player of the Year awards, 8 first-team All-Pros, a Super Bowl ring, and an impenetrable legacy. On top of that, his 111 sacks rank 2nd all-time amongst defensive tackles, behind John Randall, who played 4 more years. There is no denying that Aaron Donald is one of the most special talents the sport has ever seen, and his journey from undersized to unstoppable is one of the best stories we've ever had the privilege to enjoy. What's your best memory of Aaron Donald's career? Let us know in the comments.